Hey everyone, welcome to another Rich Has an Opinion. So, I got to thinking the other day, if the playable factions of the 40k universe did indeed actually exist, not only would the universe be an extremely frightening place to live, what would they do in their spare time? I mean, you can't conquer and fight constantly. I mean, every army needs a bit of R&R from time to time. So, what I thought I'd do is pick out a game for each of the major factions that suits the theme of that faction, or at least pokes a lot of fun at it. So, up first, the Imperial Guard. The faceless millions of the Imperial Guard. If needs be, the Imperium can call on literally millions of these soldiers, and they're often sent to be slaughtered in the thousands on the battlefield. So we're not being melted by a Necron gas gun, or chewed on by a Tyranid, and then subsequently forgotten about. While they're sitting around their bunkers and tanks, I reckon they would all have a quick round of guess who? And that moves us on to the Inquisition, the righteous protectors of the Imperium, searching almost constantly for the taint of chaos or a Xenos threat from within the Imperium of Man. Of course, warp travel takes time to get from planet to planet, and so does an investigation into who is corrupted, so while they put the information together to determine who is guilty of heresy today, they would play none other than Cluedo to keep their minds nice and sharp. Our next faction is the Necrons, the lifeless, soulless, killer, undead robots of the galaxy, trying to find a way to restore themselves back into mortal bodies. When not destroying whoever is nearest their hidden city this week, I imagine they spend many an hour in their necro-tombs playing the game of life. On to our next Xenos faction, the Tyranids, the great devourers of the galaxy, come to consume all biological life forms, be it human, Xenos, animal or plant. Of course, it takes time to digest everything on a planet, so while they're letting the stomach acids do the job and the hive mind is plotting where the next attack will be, they pass the time by playing Hungry Hungry Hippos. And on to one of my favourite Xeno factions, the Eldar, an ancient race known for its potent psychic abilities and high natural intelligence. The Eldar spawned the Chaos God Slanesh through their overindulgence into partying very, very hard and very, very naughtily, which goes to show how potent psychics they are. As a result these days, every Eldar will suppress all emotions so as not to go down that dark path again. So, something to keep their very intelligent minds busy whilst lacking any kind of excitement? It's got to be, of course, none other than chess. And the Dark Eldar, the complete opposite of their good guy cousins, the Eldar. The Dark Eldar not only love to torture people, they need to perform it on others on a regular basis just to keep themselves alive. Yes, I know. I don't make up the law, I'm just repeating it. However, the more pain and the longer they can torture someone before they die, the more the Dark Eldar are regenerated. So, what better to help them practice the steady hand needed to use a scalpel with utmost precision to cause the most excruciating pain over extended period of times? None other than Operation. Now the Tau, a relatively young Xenos race who are rapidly expanding their territory in the galaxy. Each member of the Tau Empire puts aside their own aspirations and desires, and they all work together for the greater good of the Tau Empire, not for any individual's own gain. When not conquering planets in complete selflessness and in very communistic ideals, they take off those mech suits and settle in for a game of solitaire. And back to one of the Imperium's factions, the Sisters of Battle, the nuns with guns or the female space marines, as highly zealous and fanatical in their devotion to the Emperor of Mankind as they are in their passion of purging in flame all the enemies of the Emperor. But all that purging takes its toll, and there's only so much flamer fuel you can carry at any one time. So whilst waiting for a supply drop before continuing your quest to save mankind from its enemies, why not take a load off and join them for a game of Cards Against Humanity? Jumping over to Mars now, the Adaptus Mechanicus, the great builders of the Imperium of Man, makers of everything from the humble bolter to the mighty titans of the battlefield. Of course, those forgers take time to press the metal into place, so while you're waiting for your latest construction to roll off the production line, use that mechanical arm of yours to make that tower a little bit higher in none other than Jenga. Orcs, big, brutal, almost feral. The giant blades they use, or choppers as they call them, or their ludicrously oversized guns, or shooters in Orcish. A shooter's power is measured by its dakka. The more dakka, the more firepower, and there's no such thing as too much dakka to an orc. When there is nothing left to burn, loot or destroy, eventually the orcs will settle down and expand their vocabulary with a good old game of Scrabble. And on to the ruinous powers. To be a follower of Chaos is to devote yourself to one of the four ruinous gods, Khorne the Blood God, Nurgle the Plague God, Slaanesh the God of Pleasure, or Tzinch the God of Change. Becoming a champion of one of these gods will grant you powerful boons, from the ability to throw lightning around, to immunity to disease as poisons, as well as mutations and powerful warp-based weapons. Such wondrous abilities and items can only be compared with your fellow Chaos Champions while sat around a table playing Connect 4. And finally, onto the Space Marines. Now, before the Space Marines were broken down into the many hundreds of chapters, each just 1,000 Marines strong, they operated in just 20 vast legions, each under the command of a Primarch. Those 20 legions, each of several 100,000 warriors, spearheaded the Great Crusade reuniting the galaxy under the Emperor's banner. But with each Space Marine only needing 4 hours sleep a day, there's only so much martial arts training and firearms practice that you can do. So the rest of these hours would be spent playing Risk, to help them perfect their conquering strategies. These days, however, since they've been broken down into the much smaller chapters, and seem to be more local system protectors than galaxy-wide conquerors, each chapter has its own preferred game. But that's for another vid.